Good evening, everyone. We would like to bring to order the June 17, 2025 board meeting of the directors of the Bucks County Intermediate Unit. Could everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, which is from the Richard Chaz's Autistic Support Step Classroom at Samuel Everett.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice.
Wow. Oh, what a beautiful classroom that is.
Yes, it is.
Okay, Michelle, could we get a roll call vote for attendance, please?
Absolutely. Mr. D'Angelo,
Here.
Mr. Jackson,
Here.
Mr. Hollowell,
I am here.
Mr. Morgan, Ms. Sheehan. Here. Ms. Stern,
Here.
Mr. Waldorf,
Present.
Ms. Winters. Here. Mr. Wers, Ms. Oseki,
Here.
Ms. Walbeezer, Mr. Godikson,
Present.
Ms. Foley.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum with 10.
Okay. Okay, moving on. Let's announcement that we did have an executive session started at 6:15, and we discussed real estate and personnel matters. And we also received the annual safety and security report, which is required by Act 44 of 2018. Okay. Item number 2, public comment. Are there any public comment for agenda items only?
That's a no from Patty.
Okay, Patty, thank you. And then that's a no. So let's move on to item 3. And this would be the item 3 is the annual election of officers to the Bucks County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors. Could I get again, if you want me to read them out, as I'm being chosen as president. Vice President will be Ron Jackson, Secretary Michelle Ruggiero, and Treasurer Allison Bilahovic. And could I get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
A second.
Move second. I'm Susan.
I believe that was Miss Foley
Yes.
and Mr. Godikson.
Okay.
Is that correct, Miss Foley? Was that you?
That was me.
Okay, very good.
Okay. And does anyone have any questions or concerns? I'll take that as a no. And I believe this is a roll call vote.
It is. Mr. D'Angelo,
Yes.
Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Hollowell,
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan,
Yes.
Ms. Stern,
Yes.
Mr. Waldorf,
Yes.
Ms. Winters.
Yes.
Ms. Oseki,
Yes.
Mr. Godikson,
Yes.
Ms. Foley.
Yes.
Okay, passes by a vote of 10 to 0.
Congratulations.
And if I could just say to my fellow board members, it's an honor and a privilege to serve as the president of this wonderful organization. And I thank you for your confidence in me. And I just want you to know that, again, we've done a lot of good things here in the past couple of years. And I've also made a lot of good friends and people that really care about education. So thank you again. Okay, let's move on to item 4, which will be the consent agenda. Okay, and that will include items 5A through 10D. So my first question would be, if you've all looked at 5A through 10D, does anyone need anything that they would like to pull for discussion or? I'll take that as a no. And so with that, if there are no questions there, could we get a motion to approve the consent agenda item 5A through 10D?
So moved.
That's Miss Winters.
Second.
That's
Miss
Miss Sheehan.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I think that's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're gonna do something that we enjoy every year. And even though I thought we did it a couple months ago, but we're doing it again.
Time
And,
flies.
we have a bunch of fine employees that actually think that they're retiring, but they will be.
I think you just approved it, actually.
So what we're going to do on these, the first one is the recognition of the retirees for the 2024-2025 school year. And Nora, you want to take over?
Good evening. My name is Nora Cuff, and I serve as the Supervisor of Recruitment and Retention for the Bucks IU. This evening, I am honored to present the recognition of retirees mini report, which can be found under presentations and mini reports in the board agenda. Tonight marks a meaningful occasion as we come together to celebrate the dedicated staff members who have retired from the Bucks IU during the 24-25 school year. It is a privilege to acknowledge their outstanding careers and the lasting legacies they leave behind. On behalf of the IU Board of School Directors and the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, I extend our heartfelt gratitude for your countless years of compassion, service, and unwavering commitment to both the students and the Bucks IU community. This year, we proudly recognize 22 retirees, 9 of whom are with us here this evening. Collectively, these individuals have contributed an impressive 432 years of service to the Bucks IU. As part of this evening's celebration, I invite Dr. Hoffman and Mr. D'Angelo to the back of the room to have pictures taken with each retiree. I welcome the 9 retirees who are with us tonight and kindly request each retiree rise as you are called so that your supervisor can share a few words in your honor. Thank you all for joining us to celebrate their achievements, share memories, and wish them well as they embark on their next exciting journey of their lives. I'm calling up Erin Carson, who is a program director in our school age programs. I'm going to ask Terry Edelman to stand. Come over here, Terry.
Though Terry and I haven't had the opportunity to work together, I want to sincerely thank Terry for her 8 years of dedicated service as a paraprofessional at the Bucks IU. Colleagues have spoken highly of Terry's flexibility and her willingness to support students across programs. She has stepped in where needed, ensuring every student received the care and attention they deserved. Her commitment, compassion, positive presence have made a meaningful difference in the lives of both students and staff. As Terry continues her retirement, yes, Terry retired earlier this year, I hope she takes pride in all she has accomplished and the many lives she has touched. Wishing you joy, relaxation, and new adventures in this exciting new chapter of your life. Congratulations.
In front of that. Okay. I'm gonna take a picture of Dr. Hoffman. No, that's okay. Sure, yeah, sure. Patricia Maurizio, please join us.
After 21 years of dedicated service at the Bucks IU, I am honored to celebrate Patty and the lasting impact she has made working in our AS program over the last 21 years of service. She has been a bright light to everyone around her, always greeting others with a warm smile and welcoming presence. Patty brought joy into every classroom she entered, creating an environment filled with care. Her willingness to always give her best made a lasting difference for students and colleagues. Throughout Patty's career, she took on new challenges with grace and determination. She adapted to different classrooms and always found a way to contribute meaningfully wherever she was needed. When the opportunity came to try something new, she embraced it with openness and professionalism, showing her deep commitment to the work and the students she supports. Patty, thank you for all you've given over the years. Wishing you a joyful and fulfilling retirement. You will be missed.
Thank you. Can I have Deborah Tabor join us, please? Deborah Tabor. Okay. And Patricia Perry.
Hi, Patty.
Hello.
After 21 years of incredible service at the Bucks IU, Patty's retirement marks the end of an era. I've had the pleasure of knowing Patty for nearly 23 years. I wasn't going to cry. And she is truly a colleague who will never be forgotten. Her unwavering passion and dedication to supporting students has left a lasting impact on so many lives. She is full of energy and has brought laughter to the most stressful days. Patty always anticipated the needs of others and stepped in to help in every way imaginable. She's brought heart, humor, and a tireless commitment into every classroom she's entered. With a smile on her face and giving 100% effort, she has been a shining example of what it means to truly care. Thank you, Patty, for everything you've given. You will be deeply missed, and your legacy will live on with many students and colleagues you've inspired.
Thank you.
Enjoy this well-earned next chapter.
I'm gonna miss you too.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. Hello there. How are you?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know what's to get into.
One more. I'm headed that way. I just have Vicky here. There's more, I'm in trouble.
I'm gonna just pick this up.
Victoria Dempsey.
Oh, this is so exciting. Okay, so I have the pleasure tonight of honoring Vicki Dempsey, who is a teacher of the visually impaired and also a certified orientation and mobility specialist. And boy, are they hard to find. So if you know anybody, this is a big, big loss for us. Vicki has dedicated nearly 40 years to supporting students with visual impairments, both in Pennsylvania and Maryland. Vicki is known for her gentle instructional delivery and her unwavering commitment. And she has taught independence to students all the way from preschool up to age 22. Her work has touched every single district in Bucks County. She has served every one of our districts. And Vicki's advocacy mentorship, and her incredible talents have made her a beloved and respected presence on the Vision team. She has a particular gift for supporting students with complex needs, and I learned today that she has a gift for whipping up tactile maps on the fly in order to support students in navigating their environments. Vicky's professionalism, warmth, and impact will be very deeply missed. We wish her all the best in retirement. She has some travel planned to Rehoboth and then to the Outer Banks. I hope they're ready for her. And we just wish you all the best, Vicky. I'm so pleased for you. Congratulations.
Patty Fixler.
All right. So after 24 and a half years of dedicated service across many programs at the Bucks IU in both upper and lower counties, Patty is closing her incredible career from the WOW program in Percy Square. Patty truly embodies what it means to be a WOW outstanding worker with a natural gift for teaching and a heart full of compassion. She has left a lasting impact on the lives of so many students. Her positive spirit, boundless kindness, and ever-present joy have made our program and our days so much brighter. Whether through her delicious baked treats and cookies or her thoughtful words, Patty has made WOW sweeter in every sense. Her presence will be deeply missed, but her legacy will live on. And so will your cookies won't. But thank you, Patty, for your years of unwavering commitment and heart. We wish you all the happiness and adventure in retirement, and we will see you through ESS in September. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Ron Rowland.
It is my privilege to recognize someone who has been a driving force at the Bucks County Intermediate Unit for over 20 years, the incomparable Ron Rowland. Ron has served as the manager of prevention and federal programs, overseeing a wide array of initiatives that have shaped the educational experience for students, educators, and families. From his work with federal programs, neglected and delinquent facilities, prevention programs, to the Bucks County drug and alcohol programs, Ron's leadership has been both broad and deeply impactful. He's been a powerful advocate and support system for health and PE teachers, school counselors, and public and non-public schools alike. Comments from Ron's colleagues capture him best. Ron is someone who leads with heart and brings out the best in those around him. He is just the best example of a good human. He knows the right words and wisdom to share, or when a quiet hug is the best remedy. He is a genuine force for good. Steady, energetic, loyal, prepared, charismatic, team player, respected, caring. The list goes on and on. Ron is the king of icebreakers, a dynamic and engaging presenter, and someone whose sense of humor and warmth has brought levity and joy to every meeting and training. As the longtime facilitator of the Bucks County Student Forum, Ron has worked with high school students nominated by their principals, helping them to build leadership skills, foster a community, and make their voices heard. Known affectionately in many circles as Rockin' Ron, he's always been quick to assist colleagues. Notably, in the days, weeks, and months leading up to his retirement, Ron has gone above and beyond, making sure his successor is fully prepared, leaving not just a role, but a roadmap for continued success. And of course, we cannot forget Ron's unwavering loyalty to his beloved Phillies and Eagles. As he heads into retirement, he's looking forward to what matters most: time with family, his children, and perhaps most importantly, his 3 grandchildren. Ron, your presence, leadership, and heart have made a lasting impact. You have shaped programs, empowered students, uplifted colleagues, and made every space you've entered a better one. Congratulations and thank you for everything.
Sharon Schambach.
All right,
Yeah.
All righty. So Sharon here has worked for the IU for an impressive 39 years, supporting the purchasing operation of the business office from the days of carbon paper to the technology systems that we rely on today. Her dedication helped ensure that our staff and students had the supplies and services they needed to succeed. Sharon cultivated strong relationships with vendors and colleagues alike, becoming a trusted and essential part of our team, so much that purchasing and Sharon often felt like one and the same. Her desk was a frequent stop for those needing help with purchases, and just as often for those who simply wanted to say hello to a kind and friendly face. On the day she retired, her desk overflowed with flowers, a beautiful reflection of how many people she impacted during her time here. Though her presence is greatly missed in the business office, we're thrilled for her to begin her well-earned retirement, whether she's running marathons, tending to her garden, or spending time with loved ones. We wish her all the best in her next chapter. Congratulations.
George Samansky.
George is officially sailing on to his next adventure, trading lesson plans and IEP writing for fishing and hunting plans. Thank you for over 27 incredible years of service and so many laughs along the way. Not only has George been a dedicated teacher across multiple Bucks IU locations, including Red Cedar and the correctional facility most recently, helping so many adults earn their diploma, but also as our steadfast union treasurer, negotiating every contract with care and commitment. George, thank you for all you have done and the impact that you have made on so many students and staff's lives. We wish you all the best in this next chapter. May it be full of peace, joy, and plenty of bites on that line.
Thank you all for joining us tonight for the retiree recognition ceremony. As we close the ceremony, we have a short video for you to watch and enjoy. Thank you.
So we just had a lot of kind words said about our well-deserving retirees. Organizations are made of people, right? And it's opportunities like this that we get to celebrate the people behind the mission and the people that are serving our students and our colleagues across Bucks County. I wanted to give any retiree an opportunity if they'd like to say a few words. There's no obligation, of course, but if anybody would like to address the board or address their colleagues, by all means, the microphone's yours. Ron, you like to go first? Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So good evening, Dr. Hoffman, Dr. Holler, my Bucks IU colleagues that are here, and of course, the board of directors. I did prepare a couple of words, so thanks for the opportunity to share some of my thoughts and reflections as I retire. I have 2 more days, so I'm going to retire on Thursday. I began my professional career working in a hospital as a respiratory therapist. That role allowed me to treat disease, but did very little to prevent disease. So after working there for about 20 years, I decided I wanted to change careers and become a health teacher to make a difference in the lives of young people when it came to their health, to actually help prevent disease and illness. I worked as a health teacher for a few years at Owen J. Roberts, and then I had the opportunity to work here for the Bucks County Intermediate Unit. Frankly, when I applied for the job, I knew very little about the Intermediate Unit, but I quickly learned how the intermediate units are in a unique position to help many schools, to help many children, help many families. I certainly found my niche, and there's great satisfaction in a profession that allows you to serve others. In my 23 years here at the IU, I've had a great career here, and I've been mentored by wonderful people. Dr. Larry Martin, if anybody remembers him, Tom Lear, Dr. Betsy O'Donnell, Dr. Mike Masco, and Dr. Rachel Holler. I've worked under 3 executive directors since my time here, and I want to share a quick story with the board. Several years ago, I was at a meeting, and the executive director of one of our county agencies came up to me and says, "Oh, Ron, you've had 3 different executive directors at the intermediate unit. So how does Dr. Hoffman rank?" I thought about it for a second. I want to share what my response was. I don't mean to insult or offend anybody, but I'm going to be frank here. I said, the first executive director ran the intermediate unit like a family. He cared about people. He cared about relationships, was less worried about making money and more about running a business. I'm sure those who remember Dr. Coe know who I'm referring to. Our second executive director ran the intermediate like a business. It was about making money and being an entrepreneur. And I said, our current director, Dr. Hoffman, I believe he runs the IU like a family-owned business. He makes the staff feel valued. He understands that the success of the intermediate unit lies in the people who work here and in the staff. He knows how to build morale and yet reminds everyone that this is indeed a business and we do have to be entrepreneurs and come up with ideas that may be out of the box in order to maintain and sustain a business. He makes sure that our staff meetings are fun, they're humorous. He asks about family. He shares his own family updates. He keeps the staff informed and values opinions. I thank you, Dr. Hoffman. If you didn't leave the room, I thank you for your leadership. Due to my significant family history of cancer, I knew that I wanted to retire when I had my good health and was able to enjoy my family. So that's really why I'm retiring. I still love my job. I plan to spend more time visiting 2 children and 6 grandkids between Florida and New York. The last thing I want to share is I remember several years ago, my colleague, Chad Evans, was handing out these business cards to everyone that walked in his way. It was a card that had the mission statement of the IU, and it had 3 words. And it said, learn, flourish, and contribute. And I'm embarrassed to say that I remember snickering to myself and thinking that there were nothing more than 3 cheesy words on a business card, and I never really gave it much attention or consideration. Last year, I began to share my retirement plans. And I found myself telling my family, my friends, my colleagues, and my school tact how much I learned at the IU. Then I talk about how proud I was that I grew, I flourished at the IU. And then I talked about how proud I was that I felt like I contributed to the IU. So there it is. Learn, flourish, and contribute. So I swallowed my ego and I thought, man, Chad, you're right. This is exactly what it's about, isn't it? It's about learn, flourish, and contribute. As educators, we're never truly sure about the lives that we touch and don't realize until many years later. But I do believe that I supported many teachers and administrators in keeping their schools safe. I want my professional legacy to be somebody who cared about young people and helping develop healthy habits. I wish this great Berks County Intermediate Unit great growth and success. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak? Oh. I think the challenge has been levied. With that, one more round of applause for our retirees, please.
We would like to try and get one group photo with all of the retirees in it. So if you guys could stand and maybe just head to the back again for a quick picture.
Okay, guys, on 3, 1, 2. I go, thing, 1, 2.
They should like reverb. You should make that recommendation. I'm gonna stop. And if they want me.
Okay, before we move on, just want to thank all of you retirees again. And I just had one question. When we were taking the pictures, the young lady who was taking the pictures would tell the retirees to kind of hold the flowers this way. Then she would come up near me and say, turn and face the wall. And I was just wondering, Dr. Hoffman, you have anything to do with that?
Yes, usually if something offends you, it's usually my doing. No, but can we give Nora a round of applause
Yes.
as well? Thank you for organizing.
My question was always, when they applaud for you, when you announce you're retiring, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
In our case, it's an acknowledgement that we expect them to come back as consultants and contracted staff members, because no one truly retires from the intermediate unit, right? We're still trying to get Fleming to come back, but we sort of like him on the board though, right? So it's just one of those things, Ron, that the IU really is like that family business. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to item B, which is the special education mini report and our end of year celebrations. Dr. Greeley?
Good evening, and thank you again to our colleagues for your service and your many years to support students and families and districts in Bucks County. I appreciate it, and I know the families that you support and the colleagues appreciate it as well, so thank you all. This evening on board docs under item 11B, we're usually up towards the top, but we're a little farther down tonight. 11B is the special ed mini report. And this year we've had the opportunity to do a lot of exciting things throughout early childhood, school age, adult programming, secondary transition, etc. And this evening I have Patty Quick and Jen Schmidt with us to share some updates from early childhood and our school age secondary adult programs.
Well, good evening, and we're going to continue the theme of celebration. So as Dr. Graney said, we wrapped up the 25-26 school year. Bucks IU school age programs proudly celebrated student growth, resilience, and community through a series of inclusive year-end events. The celebrations reflected the diverse needs and accomplishments of students throughout our school age programs from kindergarten through age 22. If you pull out your mini report, you'll see some photos and a little bit more detail, but highlights include a very vibrant prom hosted here at the IU, a heartfelt graduation ceremony, the Project Search Banquet, which was honoring our career-ready students, countywide field days, school district field trips, which fostered fun, inclusion, and social connection, and students showcased their creative talent at the Samuel Everett Talent Show and Art Show, and alumni picnic celebrating the ongoing community ties. Finally, we had award ceremonies across programs that recognized hard work and achievements of all of our students. We're immensely proud of our students' accomplishments and remain grateful for the collaborative efforts of our staff, our families, and partners that make these celebrations possible. And Patty's going to share a little bit about early childhood.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So early childhood programs had a very strong focus this year on family engagement. And as you can imagine, and as I'm sure many of you know, active family engagement in the early years is really a tremendous success indicator for little people as they move on into school age. So we made sure to make it one of our priorities in our program. In the beginning of the year, we had the opportunity to host back to school nights and meet the teacher across the county. And we continued that through the school year with center committee meetings where we did some active parent trainings. Those parent trainings were on things like picky eaters, car seat safety, and being ready for kindergarten. But as we closed the year, we knew that we wanted to do more. We knew that we wanted to give parents an opportunity to be in school with their child, celebrating all of their wonderful accomplishments for the year. So as you will see in your mini report, we hosted Spring Flings. We did student songs and parent crafts together. We had popsicles on the playground and bubbles on the playground. We had field days, art walks, end of the year recognition, and flowers with families. And for the first year in quite a few years, we actually did a preschool graduation, which honored our students who are moving on from the preschool years into kindergarten. And it was complete with photo booths, and the children had an opportunity to get their picture taken with their parents with a cap and gown. These year-end celebrations don't just mark the end of a year, but they really give an opportunity for parents to actively celebrate with their children and have an opportunity to see all of the accomplishments and growth that their children have. And as you can see in the pictures, our parents were just overjoyed to be sharing those moments with their children. We are tremendously grateful for our staff for supporting all of these events through the year. They would not happen without the staff partnering with parents and partnering with the children to make sure those events take place. So we just want to make sure that we mention that and say thank you to them this evening.
Okay, moving on to item C, programs and services mini report. Dr. Holler.
Yes, so in 11C, you'll see that this month's report is about the district support team update. So we've just wrapped up the 2024-2025 school year. It's a blur. And so what people often ask me is what's new or what are you working on? And what we've really been doing the past few weeks is actually getting into your districts and having meetings to start to plan for 2025-2026. So those meetings are well underway. In fact, we just completed the 14th of 16 today. So a very productive couple of weeks, and really looking forward to setting some new plans in motion. So the summary gives you just some high level ideas of some of the themes of the types of work that we did this past year. Things include the continued support of multi-tiered systems of support and school-wide positive behavior systems. And in addition, there's a variety of other ways that we've supported all of the districts in our county, whether it's from doing like one-off type of professional learning opportunities, something more substantive like a search process that we may have completed, but just a variety of different things so that we try to give you just a high-level overview at the end of the year to celebrate the end of an exciting 24-25 year. And I look forward to continuing that work as we move into the next school year. Any questions?
Any questions? I just want to say, looking over this list of all the things, so many important things that you do, and coming from a small district that that doesn't have the resources we appreciate at Bristol, and I look and see, and you're doing many of the same things across almost every district. So, thanks to you and your team, Dr. Holler.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Okay. Moving on now, item D, the annual safety and security report. That was provided in executive session, so we'll move on.
Thank you.
And now the executive director's report, Dr. Hoffman.
There's no way to possibly top the retiree celebration. And so rather than attempt to do that, I'll just give you a sense of what's in your folders so that you have a sense of what you might want to share with your districts as you go back and report on the IU at your next school district board meeting. The hard copies and electronic copies that you've received previously of the press releases that highlight so much student and staff success related to our apprenticeship program being expanded, the intermediate units partnership with the Bucks County Health Improvement Partnership being highlighted, our Tropical Twilight prom that was such a success last month, the Bucks IU graduation that was just such another amazing night earlier this month. And you'll see two fantastic interns, one for May and one for June, JJ and Maddie from Project Search, as well as a comprehensive edition of the Awesome News. The one thing, as I look through the Awesome News each month, I'm often just prompted to remind you that the Awesome News is literally just the things that we're highlighting over the last 30 days, right? Like, so this is such a comprehensive end of year Awesome News, but it really only captures the middle of May to the middle of June, just to give you a sense of the breadth, the scope, and just the expertise and dedication that our staff bring to the programs to ultimately support your teachers, your school districts, and of course the students that we have the privilege and honor of serving. And so that concludes my report. So that we can move on to other items in the agenda. I just wanted to make sure that you had a sense of just some really amazing stories that you can tell as you go back to your school districts and talk about the Bucks County Intermediate Unit. Thank you.
And I just would encourage all of my fellow board members, take that stuff back and let them know all the good things that we're doing. Many of it, it affects your kiddos, and this has really been a pretty whirlwind month. A lot of great things going on. So please let everyone know what's going on here. Okay, item 12, the legislative report. Rebecca?
Good evening, everyone. I too want to take an opportunity to thank all of our staff, our retirees in particular, for their service. It's a real privilege to work with all of you. So I thank you for all that you've done, and it's truly an honor to recognize you this evening. Now on to less celebratory items, and that is the legislative report. You'll find the legislative report in your packet. And I have given you, as always, the scheduled session days that the House and the Senate are in session. The House returned to session on yesterday, on Monday. The Senate returns to session next Monday. State budget update. Here's what we're hearing. The latest news is to expect a late summer, even possibly a fall budget, because I understand that our legislators and the governor are really waiting to see what happens with the federal budget to understand what the impact may be on the state and what they need to do. And I understand there is some reluctance to pass the state budget without having a firmer understanding of what's happening at the federal level. So we'll keep following it, but as you know, the new fiscal year starts July 1. I do not expect to have a state budget by July 1. Over on page 2, we've all been waiting for this. So as our legislators determine what's going to happen with the state budget and what will possibly be in an omnibus school code bill, last week, the House fast-tracked consideration of cyber charter school reform. And when I say fast-tracked, I mean this bill was introduced and moved, and it just shows you it can happen. House Bill 1500 was introduced on May 30th. It was immediately fast-tracked with approval by the House Education Committee on June 2nd by a vote of 14 to 12, mostly along party lines. It was then speedily sent to the House Appropriations Committee, where it was approved on June 3rd, the very next day, by a vote of 22 to 15. The measure was then approved by the full House by a vote of 104 to 98 on June 4th. So just think about that. It went through 2 committees and to the full House in 3 days. All right, so it can be done. I do want to point out that vote 104 to 98 was again mostly along party lines, with only 2 Republicans voting in favor of the bill, joining their Democratic colleagues. One of those Republicans was Representative Casey Tomlinson from Bucks County. So here's what the measure does, and this is what we've been waiting for. First off, the measure establishes a cyber charter school funding and policy council. That council is composed of representatives of each of the House and Democratic and Senate Republican caucuses, the Secretary of Education, and the Deputy Secretary of Education. That council is to meet for about a year. They're to hold hearings. They're to focus on how to fund cyber charter schools. They're to develop recommendations for policies, and then transmit all of those recommendations to the governor, the Secretary of Education, and the General Assembly no later than April 1, 2026. None of the recommendations can become law until the General Assembly acts on them. It does establish, the bill establishes a statewide cyber charter tuition rate of $8,000. That rate is for the 25-26 school year. And then for each of the following years, there is an adjustment to the $8,000 level that is either the lesser of the average annual percentage change in real estate tax collections for all school districts across the Commonwealth, or the Act 1 index, whichever is lower. It also establishes a special education tuition rate for cyber charter students. And that rate is calculated as the $8,000 plus if a student has an IEP, the actual cost that the cyber charter school spends to educate that student per their IEP based on a number of multipliers. And it's a little complex formula, but it's what we've been waiting for, right? It establishes that cyber charter schools may not accumulate an unassigned fund balance that exceeds 12% of the cyber charter school's total expenditures. Now that the bill has quickly passed the Senate, quickly passed the House, it has been sent to the Senate for consideration. So there appears to be a general consensus on both the Senate side and the House side that this is the year to provide public school districts with some relief for cyber charter tuition, because the state knows that there's going to be less federal funding coming into districts, and they're trying to find a way to resolve that. However, I also heard a lot of rumors that what the Senate will do with this bill when they come back next Monday is possibly take it, strike all the language on cyber charter tuition, and insert instead school voucher language from last session. And then that will key up a fight between the House and Senate to reconcile the two versions. So again, that was just a rumor. Don't know what's going to happen. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens. That was the big news. Other House action, the House did take up increasing the Pennsylvania minimum wage bill. This is House Bill 1549. This is a different approach to increasing the minimum wage. You know that Governor Shapiro for the last 2 years has suggested that the minimum wage has to eventually get to $20 an hour. What this bill does, it breaks up the minimum wage amounts geographically across the Commonwealth. So depending on what class of county you are in, depends on what the minimum wage will be. I listed those for you. For Bucks, Montgomery County, we are in the county of the second class. So right now for July 1, 2026, this bill would have the minimum wage be $11 an hour. I believe all of our school districts exceed that. It would increase to $13 per hour January 1st, 2027, eventually getting up to $15 per hour as of January 1, 2028. And then on January 1, 2029, the minimum wage will increase annually based upon a COLA. And that would be what would be in effect for counties of the second class. So this bill was approved by the full House on June 11th by a party line vote, 102 to 101. It's now been sent to the Senate. I have heard that the Senate is really probably not willing to take it up. So we'll see what happens. The big news is, though, I don't think these minimum wage numbers are going to be anything that is going to impact our school districts. Our HR advisory councils have been talking about the need. We were targeting making sure all employees receive at least a minimum of $20 an hour, because that's what we thought was coming. And over the years, I believe your school districts have really worked faithfully to try to increase the minimum wage of your staffs. And I think we're all in a line with what this bill's doing. Just a couple of updates. I'm now on page 4 of some bills we talked about last month. And again, if you remember last month, I put together for you what looks like is going to be included in an omnibus school code bill. One of those is requiring AEDs in schools and at athletic events. That was House Bill 191. That was voted out of the full House by a vote of 169 to 33 on June 11th. It was sent to the Senate. There is a companion bill in the Senate, Senate Bill 375. I think there is consensus in both the House and Senate that this language will make it through to an omnibus school code bill. The House Bill 1326, which increased efficiency and transparency in school transportation. This was really a data bill, a way for the state to collect data on school transportation so they can then determine what kind of changes need to be made. That bill passed the House on June 11th by a vote of 201 to 2. Clear clear favoritism for this bill. It's been sent to the Senate for further consideration. It is expected that the Senate will take that up when they come back next week. And then finally, teacher certification fees. This was House Bill 1402. This bill would ensure that PDE could not charge any more than $50 for any teacher certification. It also excludes from paying any type of fee any member of the United States Armed Services, including National Guard or a veteran, or their spouses. They would not be required to pay any certification fees. That was approved by the House on June 11th by a vote of 203-0, and it's also been sent to the Senate for further consideration. So I think we can see just by the overwhelming support, both Republicans and Democrats in the House for these measures, they're likely also going to have the same level of support in the Senate. We will see them as part of an omnibus school code bill. Middle of page 5, I gave you another update on the federal budget. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I spent time on it last month, but I did research for you all of the various titles, what's impacted by the federal budget. This is the federal budget as approved by the House. The House approved what is being referenced as the One Big Beautiful Bill, House Resolution 1. It passed the U.S. House of Representatives on May 22nd. The vote was 215 to 214 with one abstention. So only one vote margin. Some Republicans broke away from their party to join all the Democrats who voted against it. So this bill, H.R. 1, has now been sent to the Senate. You may be hearing in the Senate that they've been tasked by the president to please pass H.R. 1 by the July 4th holiday. However, Senate leaders have said there has to be major changes in the bill in order for it to pass the Senate. Particularly, senators are against the reduction to programs to help the poor, such as the Supplemental Nutrition Aid Program, Medicaid, Medicare cuts. And there's also opposition to some of the tax cuts for the very wealthy that is in H.R. 1, along with other provisions. It's important to note that any spending package is going to have bipartisan support to pass the Senate. So there's going to have to be some sort of compromise to get this out and approved by both chambers, particularly if it's going to be done by July 4th. And then finally, at the bottom of page 6, this was a very interesting U.S. Supreme Court case that came out last Thursday. And so I gave you some background on it. The U.S. Supreme Court actually made it easier for students and their families to prove that schools are not making proper accommodations for students with disabilities. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of a family of a student who has a severe form of epilepsy who claimed their school district did not do enough to meet her instructional needs. And this was a very, very interesting case. It began in 2015 when the student transferred to a Minnesota school district. I think it's pronounced Osceola Area School District. The student has a form of epilepsy that causes more frequent seizures in the morning, so she is unable to attend classes before 12 noon. So the student also needs help walking and using the bathroom. The student's previous school district accommodated her needs by giving her evening instruction, but the Osceola Area Public Schools denied her request for similar accommodations, citing that it was not reasonable for them to have to change staff schedules to deliver services outside of the normal school day. So it was a very interesting argument. The school district also offered other rationales, including that providing the services would set an unfavorable precedent for other school districts, and they also did not want to teach the student in her home. So the student's attorney argued that between 2015 and 2018, she received only 4.5 hours of instruction per day, compared with 6.5 hours of instruction for a typical student. After the school district proposed additional cuts, her parents filed this discrimination claim under the IDEA. An administrative law judge then found that the schools had violated the IDEA. Federal courts affirmed that decision. And then the family also sued under the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, requesting a permanent injunction for any future cuts to her education. And this is where it gets interesting, because at that point, when they brought in the ADA on top of the IDEA, the Eighth Circuit found that a student must show something more than a mere failure to provide a free, appropriate public education. The Eighth Circuit found that the appropriate bar should be a heightened standard of bad faith or gross misjudgment, a standard that is not used in other types of disability discrimination cases. So typically, the standard used is this deliberate indifference standard. So the Supreme Court heard this, and the Supreme Court ruled with the family and said that it was wrong for the Eighth Circuit to say that you had to use this higher level of standard. And the court ruled in favor of the parents and said the same legal protections apply under both the ADA and the IDEA. And I gave you a quote from the family who said that they've been fighting this battle since 2015. And they said that they did it to help others across the country. So it's a very, very interesting decision, kind of complex legal analysis, but it was very interesting. And that's it for my report. Does anyone have any questions?
Regarding the case you just cited, are you going to be talking to your special education coordinators around the county and trying to figure out how this is going to impact us?
Sure. I defer to Dr. Greeny. I'm always happy to come in and talk to his special education group. And I know we have the Special Ed Pool Council that also helps update our directors of special ed about these things. But yes, I know there's going to be a lot of conversation about this. I'm not sure that it's going to impact us in Pennsylvania as much as it did in this school district, because I do believe that folks understand the need to provide a free, appropriate public education. It's an interesting set of facts, though. And Lenny, I don't know if you have any comments about it. Great. Anything else?
Anyone else?
Ms. Sheehan?
Could you turn I'm sorry, machine.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I was curious if you knew anything more about how or why the IDEA was slated to receive an increase of $677 million when everything else seems to be being cut by the federal government. Just a curiosity.
I don't know anything more about that.
Okay.
And the reason I didn't really spend a lot of time talking about this is because I believe these numbers are going to change. This is the House passed version, and I believe we know these numbers are going to change. And so I've told everyone, let's not get excited about anything until we really get a bill that has to be reconciled and we can see what may be developing between the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate. Yeah, you're welcome.
I just have a couple questions on this case. So what's kind of hard for me to understand is the Eighth Circuit found that a student must show something more than a mere failure to provide. And I guess if you showed a failure to provide, what more is there? Lenny, you got any ideas what they're talking about? Or
Well, and I think legally, that's why this becomes interesting, because we certainly know under the IDEA, if you do not provide a free, appropriate public education, a free, appropriate education, then you have not met the standard under the IDEA. And the lower courts had ruled under the IDEA, this student needed to be provided the instruction that she had been receiving. But what the parents did then was to bring in the American with Disabilities Act. And they did that so that the school district couldn't further adjust her education at like an IEP meeting to suggest that there could be some changes made. So they did that to have both relying on the IDEA and the ADA. And that's where the court said, if you're going to do that, it can't just be, the Eighth Circuit said, it can't just be that failure to provide. You also have to show bad faith or a gross misjudgment. And that's what the nuances that the U.S. Supreme Court ruled, no, that's the wrong standard.
Yeah.
Wrong standard.
Because that's subjective.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to belabor the point. It's just interesting that how, okay, getting back to the state, just two quick things about the charter, cyber charter. I would be great if they capped the tuition at 8,000. I mean, that would save all of your districts. I mean, for our district, it's $250,000.
Yeah.
So I would even want to worry to think about what it would be for some of your other districts. My question was, when you were talking about how they would adjust it, like they weren't going to index it and it would be the lesser of two. But your first bullet point, you said that's the Act One index. But isn't the Act One index, but this says the average annual percentage change in real estate collection for all school districts across the Commonwealth for the most recent year. Well, that wouldn't be the Act One index.
No.
That would be for each one, like
Right.
some districts
would
might
be-
go, right?
It would be the lesser of, the state would determine, each year, the state would determine the lesser of the first bullet or the second bullet. So if the lesser amount was the real estate tax collection, that's what it's going to be for that year. Or the Act One index.
Right. Well, where's the Act One, which is better known as, okay.
Oh,
that's
it's the second,
one,
it's the
okay.
second bullet.
That's the weekly wage, okay.
Yeah, the
Right, because
average,
the first one, unless every district went up to their Act One index and raised taxes, that would be like the maximum, but some districts don't. And then,
it would
yeah.
not be done at a district level. It would be done at the state level. So the state is going to do one
right,
of,
aggregate.
yeah, the state's
Okay.
going to determine what the change is across the state in real estate tax collections for all school districts and whatever that amount is. And let's just say that's 3%.
Whatever's year over
Or-
year.
Yes.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
the
Act
most
One.
recent increase in the Taxpayer Relief Act of 2006, which is Act One, whatever that state amount is, if that is less than 3%, it's going to be that.
Yeah, okay.
So it's it's
The
the
lesser,
lesser amount of
okay.
those two bullets. Yes.
So, and the last thing is on the next page, you have a thing about the fund balances, and
Uh-huh.
it says, establishes that a cyber charter school may not accumulate an unassigned fund balance that exceeds 12% of the cyber charter's total school expenditures. Isn't that a higher threshold than what most districts have to?
Yes.
So we're like at 8, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they're still giving them a higher by 4%.
Yes. There's been some criticism over that. And also back to the 8,000, I've heard that 8,000 probably won't stay. Folks are talking about 10,000, that between the House and the Senate there, if the Senate is willing to talk about this language, the Senate's going to want a higher number than 8,000.
Okay.
Okay. Great. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you all so much.
I just have something real quick. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, Rebecca, it's not really a question, but
Sure.
just wanted to mention that I don't know if anybody knows, but Morrisville Borough has one of the highest tuition rates for charter schools in the state of Pennsylvania. We have 87 students that participate in charter schools, and we pay $1.35 million in every year for that tuition. So really looking forward to that.
So this would really help you in Morrisville. I mean, it's going to help everyone. And I think our legislators understand that this is a way to really help with local school district funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 13, as previously announced, the board met in executive session at 6:15 to discuss real estate and personnel matters and to receive the annual safety and security report as required by Act 44 of the 2018 law. That's just information. Item 14, any old business? I'll take that as a no. Item 15, any new business? And I guess I'll take that as a no too. You agree, Josh? Okay. Item 16, is there any public participation comments not limited to agenda items? Patty?
That's a no from Patty.
That's a no from Patty. Okay, and last but not least, item 17, we'll announce for our adjournment. We want to remind everyone our next board meeting is on Tuesday, July 15th, 2023, here at the Bucks IU. You have anything to say?
Congratulations, retirees.
Congratulations. Okay, with that, could I get a motion to adjourn?
That was Mr. Godikson.
Godikson, second, Josh? Come on.
Second.
Mr. Wald.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Good meeting, brother.